comma.
Weather, okay. Consider the source.
Yeah.
3 inches Wednesday night.
You got 70 degrees in the south part of the state, 30 degrees in the north part of the state. Oh no, we're not gonna have severe thunderstorms.
Let's see, we got lots of hot, lots of cold, and the hot's usually moist.
Mm-hmm.
And then you mix.
And you usually get, severe thunderstorms.
This must be Iowa.
Yes.
Or even worse.
We've got your Florida, we've got your Anchorage. Which one do you want?
That's why Oklahoma is such a bad place during this time of year. Because we can have some pretty cold air up here, and they can have some pretty warm air down there.
We were coming back. We're coming back over the summer. I think it was like June or July, and the haboobs down in Arizona were bad. The dust, dirt flying everywhere. Couldn't see anything. You know, the sun was orange, the whole 9 yards. And we get up into Oklahoma, and here come these dust devils left here, right there. We're like, we're bringing it back with us.
I got ripped off twice at different places. One in Guyman, Oklahoma, and one in Missouri. Oh, they had a really bad tornado here in Petersburg. It's the name of the town, south of
Joplin?
Joplin.
Yes.
And I got ripped off in repairs on my truck. And the day after I left, both times, both places got destroyed by tornadoes. So the next time I went to a dealership and told them the last 2 places that ripped me off got destroyed.
Is that a threat?
Well, no, I just warned them. It's beyond my control.
Just the facts.
Does the weather come with a warranty?
All right, are we ready to see the pledge of allegiance?
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I think before we say the pledge, we ought to together go team, and then we'll say it right.
Good. No, I think about it every time.
Yeah, no, I'm afraid I'm going to be the opposite of you guys somehow.
Consider for approval minutes and agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes and agenda.
I'll say it.
Motion by Jensvold, seconded by Derby. We have a motion to approve the
Julie
agenda.
has joined.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed. Scott Minders, engineer.
75:30, isn't it?
Yeah.
Scott?
Pretty good.
Not if I was hitting her on the phone, I won't be able to remember it.
Good morning, Scott. We're ready for you. Thank you.
Should have a recording of the Jeopardy, yes. Probably. Isn't it Jeopardy? Morning, Scott.
Morning.
What do you have for us, Scott?
We don't have too much today. Of course, we got a little bit of snow mix looking like later in the week, so guys are making sure they're ready for that. Sound like they're making sure the salt piles are loosened up and everything, and we get access to what we need. I think there's a couple guys out doing some spot blading, but for the most part, people are doing kind of short-term jobs, sign work, different things like that.
How's the new equipment working? Do you know everything's good?
Anything in specific, you mean, or?
No, just the,
Well, the new truck, I suppose, you got that already, right?
Yeah, I haven't heard any issues with that. The upfitting went faster than expected, and I haven't heard anything since they got it on the road. I know the Mini has been pretty much just in the shop getting fitted with little shovel holders and different things like that, and get that out here as soon as conditions are fit. In Rice Lake area, probably. The loader has been getting used, but we haven't used much salt, so not a lot.
how much frost is there?
Haven't any idea, but
Still pretty firm out
I
there.
had heard last week that there was frost within a foot of the surface. So, like I said, it decreases from the top and bottom altogether, and my guess is there's still quite a bit. We haven't really had a lot of warm temperatures. It's been in the 40s a lot. It doesn't really eliminate frost very quickly. And we haven't had really some big major thunderstorms or anything like that that would increase the rate it would.
And then, about an inch of rain, I suppose, overall.
Yeah, it's
But
been
it
that.
was fairly cold, so,
Got cold after that.
yeah.
So we haven't put a shovel in the dirt or anything to really know.
Sure.
I know somebody tried to pull some fence posts and it didn't work, so,
Yeah. That's never very easy anyway.
no.
We got all of my grass seeded and oats seeded on a couple of those nice days, so
Sure.
I'm hoping for a little snow on top of that.
Yeah.
Won't hurt anything.
Yeah.
It would bother me if you didn't get it on top of that.
Thanks for your concern.
Oh, see, 1 to 3 is what the forecast I was looking at says for both tomorrow and the next day. So.
Yeah, that's
Just get you work.
see, just AJ doesn't believe us. He thinks we don't have good information from our.
Maps don't look like that.
Well, for the weather, of course not. I mean, all we have is guesses from different.
Exactly,
people.
thank you very much.
Now, mine's the
You and I are
Weather
on the same
Channel,
team.
and mine's usually fairly accurate.
Was it the thumb in the air or what?
Right up until it's not.
Yeah.
We'll prepare for the worst.
Yeah.
That's about all we can do.
What did they say? In times of peace, prepare for war, right?
There you go.
All right. Well, if that's all you have for us. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome.
Stay safe
Come again
out
when you
there.
can't stay so long.
What's that?
Come again when you can't stay so long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
That was barely worth the walk up the stairs, right? Drainage matters.
7511.
I'm just gonna do it and see who I get. Oh, you're right. Hey, Chris, we're ready for you. Thanks. What's the old wives' tale that the robins get snowed on 3 times or something?
You know, Robin's tail gets
Robin's tail gets snowed on 3 times.
something like that.
I've already had one. Maybe one. Good morning. are you, Chris?
I'm good.
Tell us everything you know.
Well, I found out that I messed up on the estimate
Okay,
because I was using a number that was in Rick's report
Yeah.
that was 3,000 feet, but that was for cleaning, to do the slope when they were reshaping. So yesterday when I was gone, Carlos nicely found this map in the other folder that Rick had used 6,271.7 feet.
doubled it up.
What do we do now?
So the two bids that we got, both of those people came in yesterday and talked to Carla. And they did get the information, so we haven't compared the two estimates. Larson did the 3,000 feet because that's what was requested, but he has a unit price and he authorized that, yes, we can just
multiply it out.
do the math and figure out what the end would be. But we need to look at both, because the outlet pipes, I didn't realize that whenever somebody does a bid for an engineer, that the engineer's already done that work. So the contractors really never go out and look at that. And I was thinking that they did, because how would they know how to bid if they didn't go look at it? They always just use the engineer's estimate. And I didn't put that on there because I didn't know that. But Carla, in looking at the other files, did find the engineer's report and showed that to them. So they each have, based on that, there could be more,
So what wasn't on there?
like how many
Just the
outlet
length.
pipes?
Well, that's why I figured if we had per piece.
The thing I don't like about that is that could sometimes double or triple. When I send a letter to you that says your estimate is this, and then all of a sudden we triple something, it gets
But
expensive.
there's gonna be some they won't see. either.
Truth, and that's true, but I'd rather be closer than really far away.
The good news is either way it was gonna cost them that much, even if they knew it ahead of time, I guess.
I'd rather be high than low, because I've had it where it's added thousands of dollars to a project and they weren't aware, because then I don't resend a letter, because then the bills are already here. So that part, I wanna get as close as I can. And these are all, private, because there's no tile lines coming out of it, district tile, so. Anyway, so we can go further, or, I don't have anything on.
So there was only two anyway.
Yes. And I had no other calls from
Do you
anybody.
think there would have been more if they would have known it was a bigger project?
In looking
Can we
at,
discuss this on the next subject?
Oh, probably.
yeah,
I bet we can.
I was just telling you what I
Yeah,
knew.
yeah. Okay, number 4, consider for approval estimates for,
No, well, not ready for it.
oh, well then.
We're still on drainage.
All right, but
So
was
down
there,
here on the south end of town, I
oh,
talked to the city,
Okay,
and there may be, we're not sure, we may be able to remove the tree.
okay,
Sometimes it's a controversial issue to remove a tree, but it's about this far from the road,
okay,
and it's a cottonwood, which loves tiles.
Mhm.
So it's being looked into rather than doing big expensive tariff repair of the line.
Right.
If the tree goes away, we can resolve some of that issue.
okay, and I called Rognus, but they were out last week. So he's supposed to be getting a hold of Ethan or me to get a hold of Ethan to get any
I
updates
don't know how
to.
much, if he can at least get an estimate, then we know the difference between taking the tree or
Sure.
replacing the line.
Yep,
I don't know if the city's willing to take down the tree, but probably hardly have to let Hancock know.
well, they are in charge, so
They're in charge of that one?
they have the majority of it.
Oh, okay.
So in talking with Ann, and she talked to whoever is in charge of that district, that I could go ahead and get an estimate and then let them know what we find. And then we'll go from there.
Which is
We were just gonna go from the one manhole
Yeah.
to the next, and then that was
Oh.
all,
So the next, you go 3 manholes?
yes, yep. Cause there was one behind Indian Avenue, one on the west side of the road, and then one on the east side of the road, is that right?
Okay.
If I'm thinking of the map right. So.
Okay.
Mhm. So as soon as I hear from Rognus to get anything, and I can maybe have him call you too about the
Yeah.
tree. Okay.
Unless you want to.
Take the tree down?
South end of Westgate there, or what we're gonna do. It's in both our districts, so.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, if the city will take the tree down, that would be,
Are they wanting any help from the district
Well, I
as
don't
far as
know.
cost?
They're looking into viability of it. What else is there? You know, do you cut it down and grind it? Do you dig it up? It's got a pretty good root system.
I bet.
Just a big ball of, long ball of rest, they pull out of it from that tree.
Yeah, they would work one joint. Just finding every place it could get in there. There are no other trees, probably within 100 feet at least.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, I worry that somewhere down the line going west there may be more issues because there's trees on top of that line, all the way, smaller ones.
And lines for it.
But it may be a smaller pipe that was easier to assemble with the rubber, because that manhole in that one backyard where it turns, and if it also comes in from another direction, just like 3 holes, that are 1 outlet, 2 inlets, so the downsize 18. Well, we'll wait and see what we have there.
Yeah.
any other drainage matters? Number 4, consider for approval estimates for DD 11 Lower Main.
So we have an estimate from La Harve and we have an estimate from Larson Contracting. The unit price for, I guess we could start with Larson Contracting, is $3 for excavation and tree removal is $3 per foot. They did 3,000 feet at $9,000. La Harve did a unit price of $6.50 a foot and did a unit quantity of 6,271.7 for $40,766.05. Where they differ a lot is in the outlet pipes. Larson's has 5 4-inch at $819. La Harve has 0. Larson's have 1. La Harve has 3 for 6-inch. Larson's have 8 or 1 8-inch. La Harve has 0. For the 10-inch, Larson's has 1 and La Harve has 0. For the 12-inch, Larson's has 2 and La Harve has 14. So there's quite a big difference in the amount of outlets that
What
they're
was the
doing.
last, the diameter?
12 inch.
12 inch?
Okay. Because, and I know when Larson dropped that off, Darren said that it was a 12 inch and then it would go down to the 4. So the, behind the outlet pipe, it was all 12 inches. And then it would outlet into the 4, the 6, the 10, and the 12. That's what was in the report from Rick. So what they're doing is they did all the same price for all the outlet pipes. It was all $819 per thing. So in looking at that, I would guess that we can just count the outlet pipes that they did.
So they still only did 10 outlet pipes, whereas La Harve did 17.
So what did Laharve had for that last number?
They did 14 12 inch,
At how many? Or at how, what it cost?
900.
Yeah, so it's 818 versus 900.
But they also did 3 6 inch at 600. And then Larson's did 20 tons of riprap at $37.60. And La Harve did 2,500 tons of riprap at $57.
Say that one again, that last one,
2,500 tons of riprap at $57.
like 100 tons.
But that's more like what Rick says in his
Yeah.
report,
And what did Larson's do?
20 tons. 37.60.
Well, and I know Rick had said too that if we didn't maybe need all that riprap,
Yeah.
because we weren't gonna straighten it or whatever, so if we don't care about those oxbows, if they do anything else or
I
get
thought
bigger.
what he said was, if we don't straighten it, we need the riprap so that the curbs don't get bigger.
But that's a choice. If they get bigger, is that a worry?
It's a natural waterway.
Right. So I do remember that yes, you'd want to if you don't want those oxbows to get bigger, but if it's not a concern, then maybe we can save that money.
So and then the seeding, fertilizing, Larson's did 3,300 and La Harve did 4,000. So total bid, Larson Contracting is $21,242. La Harve's bid was $201,066.05.
But there's a discrepancy in the distances.
There is.
So,
You'd have to add or double, more than double Larson's footage bid, right? What do you say there was for footage?
$3.
No, I mean the total footage.
3,000.
So 6,271.7.
So do the $3 times that.
I don't have my phone or anything.
That makes Larson's bid 18,815.10.
And then can you add the rest of what he had on there, please? And Darren said too, if we wanted to redo a bid, that would be fine too.
That might be necessary for clarification.
Would you just do the two that submitted, or?
Yeah, do you have to put it out for everybody again then, or?
That's up to you guys.
I don't think you can necessarily rebid something that you've,
Yeah.
Mm.
He gave us permission to add the additional footage.
Mhm.
The only part is, were they accounting for pipes in the lot?
He did all the pipes that were in,
All of them,
that's what he said,
okay.
not just that 3,000 feet, because he wouldn't know what was just in that 3,000 feet. So,
So that makes it $31,057.10.
The other bid is how much?
201.
201,
201,000?
yeah, 6605.
Something doesn't seem right.
I feel like, can I go make copies of those two sheets, so we can all look at?
Yep.
That just seems
Something-
like too big a discrepancy for some reason.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
I'd love to do that.
Ours keeps breaking down in our office.
Oh,
Let's see what the priorities are.
well, evidently,
Way more important.
evidently the.
Well, we
issue's
have
not in-
$142,000 in additional riprap.
Yeah, that was a big difference.
So there's $140,000 right there, which is like,
And that's a choice of us, how much we want to do in riprap.
well, am I remembering incorrectly that we were going to have the farmers in that area watch how this worked?
Well, that was the initial thought. I mean, and Bill and them were all on board with that, but then I think with the names that were on the petition, those same ones have now decided they want to just get it done.
So, I mean, you can do it without riprap and let nature take its course, or you can,
There's a little bit.
2,500
Even
tons of
if you-
riprap is an awful lot of.
Even if you take that riprap difference off of there, it's still 60,000 compared to 30,000. Something doesn't seem right here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would just stare at this and call you Bill.
So I wonder if can we make them,
Outlets
Like,
being so
do-
much different.
I don't even know which one's which, I'm so sorry, oh, this is. Can we make them comparable? So riprap, 20 tons at 37.60. If we did 20 tons on the Harv at his 57, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we can.
That's what I was trying to do.
Okay, and I forgot.
So why are there discrepancies that they're not all bidding the same outlets? What, are they looking at Rick's, the engineers, and not pulling the same information?
Yeah, it's sure awful confusing here.
Well,
Well, I mean,
just looking at the price per foot,
I mean, that's double, more than double.
yeah, that's a big difference there. And then you've got
Well, you've got 12 more 12-inch
riprap,
outlets,
just the
and
cost
you've got
of the
riprap.
per ton was higher on one.
Well, it's the higher one is both on the same one.
Mhm.
The-
Same with seating for
I mean,
like,
according to this, if this is, I just can't believe they're comparing apples to apples here. This one is so much higher.
well, it's one of those things you bid on your availability and we're still waiting on Lahar to do that job at the sheriff's center.
Well, I mean, it's pretty obvious which one I would take, I guess.
even if on this lower bid, there was 14 12-inch outlet repairs, it's still gonna be less.
Just having I can see how they maybe can get their sizes mixed up a little bit, but, the number of outlets should be fairly well set in stone.
So I just did, the Larson's excavation times that 6,000 number. And then I did 14 for Larson at their 819 to get a number. They're 20 tons and the seating, and I get 34,333.10. La Harve, I kept their 650 because that was their unit price. I kept their 14 outlets at their 900 price, and then I took their 20 tons times their unit price and their seating, and it's 58,506. So
So, okay, which one was first, you said?
Larson's,
Okay.
I took all their same unit prices.
So they
I
were
just
at
kept the quantities the same.
Larson's was at the 34,000.
Yes.
Yes. So that way the quantities were the same at each their own unit price to get a number. Does that make sense?
Yep. So how do we know, who's the expert on whether this should be rip-wrapped or not?
I think that's up to you guys.
I know, I'm looking at the back of the room, actually.
Well,
He's got a degree in this field. He
Was
should
there
be able to do
any
it.
board indicating those areas?
the ultimate best way to do it would
Supposed to go.
probably be with the riprap, but would it be that much worse without it? It's kind of like that one where we had that monstrous bid from Cassuth, and we had another guy go in there and we went from 680,000 down to 200,000. Between the bids, but one of them was built in the Erie Canal.
It's been doing just fine.
Yeah, oh, yeah. It's,
This is a little more windy though.
yeah.
Is it something that can be added later if it's necessary?
Yeah.
What are the concerns that the riprap's supposed to fix?
So the oxbows will get bigger
Yeah.
because we can't straighten the ditch and fill in those oxbows. So if we don't want them to get bigger, Rick thought that the riprap would keep it in place if they wouldn't expand.
Dig the
But if we do
channel.
nothing, it took 100 years to get where it is
See
now.
that one map, the one that showed the whole thing?
If you dig the channel out, the water's still gonna want to follow the deepest. So I mean, we're for a long time with,
That's a lot of dollars worth
It
of.
sounded like the biggest concern was getting flow increase, not preventing erosion. Seems to me like the riprap's sort of secondary.
I don't see a concern with the smaller amount of riprap.
I mean, there may be locations where it makes sense, but just to take every single oxbow and line the outside seems, I mean, that would be a big project. I mean,
Well, there's some of these oxbows that, it wouldn't really bother me if they actually straighten out on their own.
well,
That's nothing we can control, that's natural.
one bid has 20 tons of riprap, the other bid has 2,500 tons of
I
riprap.
mean 20
that's-
tons is one load.
But when we figure just that second bid at the smaller number,
Right.
it's still higher bid, so.
Yes, $400 more. So if I take out the riprap cost totally, Larson is at 31,000 and La Harve is at 54,000. And their difference is the unit price. Larson's has $3 a foot and La Harve has $650.
Well, he's also, one's $20 a ton higher at riprap too,
Right.
so it's a fair difference there too.
Have they been given kind of a depth or a scope of clean out?
This is a brand new. I mean, there's no,
It's an existing natural waterway, you
Right,
can't
so
go too deep. You have to
How
just
deep are
clean
they
out.
supposed to dig, I guess is what I'm asking. how much material are they supposed to remove? Maybe that would have an effect on the price.
This sheet.
This is what I sent them. And I was just basing this off of a different bid project.
Yeah, so you wouldn't have an original grade, I guess, when it's an actual waterway, so it's.
And I don't know about a hard pan, I don't know. Is there one if it's natural?
You've done digging down there, is there a hard pan there?
You know what I mean? I don't know.
I mean, there won't be one like a drainage district where it'll be silt and then a very clear clay line like some are. Definitely not. I think it'll probably kind of get gravelly. It maybe not. It's really hard to say. Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably what would have the biggest impact on your cost is, are we digging out 1.5 feet the whole way, or are we digging out 3? You know, you got about twice the time, digging out twice the much material. And that's something that in an engineer's report, you know, with the original grade drawn in and then the, you know, silt line, then they just compare the lines and kind of have an idea. And here you could maybe design a line in and estimate a quantity of material, you know, with an engineer, but.
And that's what we're trying to get away of,
Sure.
having an engineer.
Sure, that's what makes bidding proposals uniform, is giving that kind of information to the contractor. So that's what makes things like, I do things like this too, but it's challenging comparing the quotes because they're not apples to apples.
We've used both of these contractors before, and I have faith in both of them to do the
Sure.
right thing.
Yeah, I would too. I think, you know, you'd want to be really in tune with their work, and if the scope seems like it's getting a little bit excessive, then I think you've got to be willing to work with them on price a little bit more than if you had a firm bid. Or, you know, have a discussion with them and say, you know, can you write me a scope of what you included in your bid so that we know when we walk out there what we're expecting? The depth
Because
of
you
the
would
cleaner.
hate for Larson's to start because we picked them, and then all of a sudden they're taking out more dirt and they're saying they can't do it for that, and then they go to $7,
Sure.
where we could have taken the $6.50 in the beginning. Right? I mean, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I mean, I think you can have a conversation with Larson's about what depth they expected to remove. Seems like, you know, the unit price is less than half, so it seems fair that you could make a decision, but then just pursue a more open
Typically,
conversation.
Larson's has always been quite a bit lower than everybody else on regular projects.
They also, lots of times come out of the bid.
Right.
So it's not unusual for them to be lower than
Well,
they have the
well, and
equipment,
this
they
is
have the
only-
manpower. What's that?
It's $20,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
Around.
No matter which way you go,
well,
with or without the riprap.
It's
My
not
guess-
a huge job at that point.
Right.
No,
One thought I-
unless you bring 2,500 tons of riprap in, then that's a lot of,
Then everybody needs to show up and see that, because that's an amazing project.
That's a lot of trucks.
Getting it there is the expected.
they're getting it there, yeah.
And maybe that's why Lahar was so much higher in his unit price because of the hauling of so much.
Well,
I
not
don't
so much
know.
the hauling, but getting it to the,
My,
Getting it out there.
my first thought when I saw the difference in unit prices, you know, when you're talking about, you know, 1.5 to 3 feet was Lahar thinking 3 feet and Larson is thinking 1.5. You know, because you're removing half as much material, and I'm surprised that he's that much higher. You just wonder what's running through their minds.
I think in other bids, we've had it that way before, where somebody
No, no, there's-
was
yeah.
twice as much as another on per
Yeah,
foot.
it's not uncommon. But when I first look at it, I'm like, that's somebody, it seems like apples and oranges here. Maybe it isn't either.
So how do we clean up these bids then, so that it makes it, I mean, you're gonna go back and talk to them and ask
I'm
them?
gonna want some direction there from you guys. What would you like me to do?
My question to Art would be, is just, and both of them, how much were you talking about removing? How many feet? It doesn't say there in that engineer's report, no, it's,
Just the footage.
yeah, that's just footage. Because if one of them's thinking twice as much removal, it's,
Maybe that would be the one question to have answered. What was your intent on how much you plan on removing?
because the trees are the same for both of them, so.
Then we'd have a little bit better way.
Yeah.
There's still some trees out there?
We don't know. But Terry didn't want an extra cost for the tree removal. If there's some just that are in the right of way.
Yeah.
Wondering if there was something farther up.
It hasn't been touched, I would assume. Because they removed a bunch of trees on the upper part of that, right?
Mhm.
On the lower part. Well, from the road,
East.
at least the first 3,000 foot, but
It's hard to see from the road past that.
Is that why they say things like that for the road?
I guess.
You wonder how it was when you got up going.
Mhm.
it'd be nice to get, did either of them indicate their timeline?
No, because I think I'd given that to them in the,
You did in the specs, I think, I remember
Mhm.
reading.
Both say the completion date has to be done by September 1st. Larson says start of work is May 1st. Laharv said start of work was April 11th.
Kind of showed that they're interested in going on it.
Yeah.
Well, if you can find out that, then maybe we can get a final decision.
so just the depth that they're going to.
And are they willing to, are they, do riprap on an as-needed coordinated basis?
Because I'm sure that there will be places in there that would benefit by a lower.
Yeah, but then wouldn't they need to know that from us? To be,
But what they're not gonna know until they're out there doing it.
oh, okay, right.
Well, and some of the riprap, I'm guessing, is where other, strong flows are coming in. And it's not so much the oxbow, it's probably we get more where it dumps
Where
in,
it
we're not
meets.
getting more silted.
So should we have feedback from those landowners where they're, I mean, is that something that's, that would benefit?
The riprap number came from previous, didn't Rick
Mhm.
do that?
Mhm.
That's where the big number came from, is to see if you really wanted to make this, I got maybe a question for him, it's something, how much is that really necessary? He's a little more of an expert on it than we are, I guess. But, they know it was recommended by an engineer, so if it gets to be more than 20 tons, you can expect it, but it could be way less than 2,500 tons.
Well, would you say our priorities for the riprap would be more in where the valleys dump into there? To try to keep the sediment out of
Yeah,
it?
because that's what's gonna fill it up again.
I guess you can ask them.
Yeah, a call to Rick would be kinda nice too, and ask him, just tell him the disparity between the two and the real possibility he would think. that's gonna be the make or break too.
He asked the contractor where they would suggest using the rip rapid if we can get by with the 20 tons.
Various
So when they give-
contractors know when they get there, there's a place that's needed.
So when they get there, I mean, when they give these estimates and bids, has somebody gone out, are they just looking at it all from aerial,
They're just looking at it from Rick's report.
just from Rick, because,
And they might have driven out there.
No,
But they didn't.
no. Evidently, nobody ever does.
But
They
you can
just look
at
at
it
the
online,
engineer's
too.
report.
You can zoom in pretty good on Beacon,
Yeah,
but they won't see it past the trees.
right.
You're gonna fly over in a couple months.
They're just assuming that the engineer has done all that work for them.
well, let's see if we can find out that information and then,
Well, my opinion is that the oxbows aren't so much of a concern for the Grand Rapids and the valleys. You can see what they think.
Then we'll talk again next week.
do, okay. Okay, is that all for that, guys? Thanks, Chris. Anything for open forum?
Anything special that you came for, Scott? No?
No, just listening.
Okay.
He likes engineering stuff.
All right, yeah. Oh, he's a good
He's a
engineer.
geek.
Yeah, that's right. Retiring.
One's going to part-time. Saw there was a notice for full-time.
So, I don't know if this is where to talk about it, but it's about the state housing trust fund allocation that we talked about last week.
Where are we at with joining that new, the homeward would be that NIACOG money?
Well, I've sent them all the information.
Because that's where we join that through.
Okay, so, Nelson indicated that Heidi Nielsen of NIACOG was supposed to be contacting the county supervisors, to discuss joining it. So, at our meeting the other day, I hadn't been contacted about it, I didn't know if anyone else had been contacted about it. But Winnebago had not signed up for it yet to join this group.
Probably need to contact that group to see if we're gonna be able to. See, I thought, and this is effective what? July 1? Because I thought we were signed up for till then.
The rehabilitation services for many years to 11 counties, but is pulling out of the State Housing Trust Fund program, ending their housing
There is one other participant.
rehabilitation efforts. 6 of the counties in Homeward Inc. regions are also located within the NIACOG region: Kossuth, Winnebago, Worth, Mitchell, Hancock, and Franklin. The state has asked that NIACOG Housing Trust Fund and other organizations consider taking over the program dollars for the Homeward Inc. counties. The NIACOG Housing Trust Fund Board recently voted to approach the counties about joining NIACOG region for administration of the State Housing Trust Fund dollars. Nelson indicated that Heidi Nielsen will be contacting the county of those counties I just read to discuss joining it.
And we did.
So do we just,
She
pardon?
was here.
So
Well, she was on the phone, but yeah.
So I don't know, is there paperwork that needs to go with that?
We
or-
already did it.
So
We did
at
that
our,
resolution and I sent that back to her.
okay, so then maybe it just was lost in
Can I
paperwork.
look at that?
Mhm. That they said at our meeting the other night that Winnebago hadn't asked or applied or signed up or whatever for it. So it might be just in passing on somebody's desk. I don't know. Because they specifically called me out on it I was attending via Zoom and just said Winnebago hasn't done it yet.
I would
That
say,
now.
we talked to Heidi and we filled out the resolution that you wanted. What else do we
I
need
think
to
we need to
do?
call Heidi and see if there's something missing that we don't know about.
Yeah. That's what it sounds like to me. Either she just,
We don't transition
Forgot.
like this very often, so it's kind of a new thing.
Right.
I mean, on the phone, she knew we were interested in, and then we did the paperwork, so.
I mean, I can call and find out where it's at with us. And maybe she misspoke, or even, I don't know. But she said Winnebago hadn't, so, at our meeting.
And if we haven't, what do we need to do?
What do we need to
Yeah.
do?
What's missing?
I'll call Heidi and find out. I just wasn't sure. Okay.
that's
Anything?
what I remember. You're supposed to do on our side.
Yeah, we passed the resolution. I sent it to her.
And we're actually
What-
saving money on our budget.
Mhm.
Went from 5,000 to 2,000, that's good enough.
Mhm.
And I think they think it's gonna be a better situation. That's what they were talking about anyway. Okay, anything else for open forum? Number 6, consider for approval pay raise for precinct election officials. Carla?
I did some research and the average, from what I found right now, the average pay raise or pay rate for precinct election officials is $12 and we're at 10 and $10.50 for chairs. So I'm wondering if we could go to 12 and $12.50 for our chairs.
You had issues with like some of the older people retiring from it and trying to find new ones to come.
It's not very easy to find people to work.
So it's kind of like EMS, if you can't get, you gotta find a different way to, that's usually paying people.
How many election officials are hired?
Usually about 50 or 60.
Say,
55, 60.
Did you reflect an increase in your budget for next year?
There's enough in my budget to take care of that.
Yeah, it's usually, you gotta pay for a class, or they got the time they put in as a class.
They have
and then
training
the actual
and
voting
then,
day.
yep.
So it's not like it's a week worth of work anyway.
I don't think it's unfounded to go to 12 and 12.50. I'll make a motion to raise the rate for precinct election officials to $12 to $12.50 for the person or whatever.
Chairs.
Chairs.
Yep.
I'll second that.
Motion by Derby and seconded by Jensfold to approve the pay raise for precinct election officials 12 and 12.50. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed.
That's a long day.
It is a long day.
Responsibility there too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of responsibility and so it's a lot of work and it can be stressful for those people that have to sit there
And we trust our poll workers, don't we, Bill?
Well, here we do.
Yeah. All right, next subject.
You want me to get started?
No.
You were trying to rush that one through.
You just wait. My 10, 12 minutes gonna come off here one of these days.
Set the public hearing for Iowa cage-free Ovations Farms site.
So, yeah, it looks like, to me, they're going with a different format of a building. You know, right now, it looks like they have 18 100 by 800 buildings, caged birds. And in the thing, it says they're replacing a page. They're just replacing the page that had all those bigger buildings in the long, narrow buildings to a wider building, 6 of them at 180 by 556.
So they're gonna tear the existing buildings down?
Well, they don't indicate that, but the page is replacing, so I'm saying, yeah, it doesn't sound like those will be on that new manure management plan. So it sounds like they're gonna replace it.
Must not be too feasible to repurpose them. Seems like a,
Well, you know, I was looking online, they have existing cage-free in the back, and they were 90 by 600. So,
and the existing ones are how big?
Huge,
100 by 800. There's 18 of them. And there was, I think, 4 of the cage-frees.
Those are the proposed.
No, that's
Those are what's
existing.
there. Oh,
And then now they would be going to 6 buildings, 180 by 556, wider and shorter. And then the other changes in their storage building, I think. Other text on this. And then on the Manure building, we'll have a final dimension of 1,200 by 156. says no changes to other confinement structures or waste water lagoons okay, so they're replacing 12 of the high-rise layer buildings with 6. So 12 of the 18 are gonna be replaced.
Wow. Those are big buildings.
And they're gonna,
That's a lot of tearing down.
That's a
and it
lot.
sounds like they're replacing 2 manure storage structures with 1 biosecurity building. What do we need for a date on this?
April 12th.
Okay, well, I'll make a motion to set the public hearing for Iowa cage-free Ovations Farm site. I suppose it's for the master matrix, right?
Mhm.
Public hearing at 9 a.m. on April 12th.
I'll second it.
We have a motion from Derby, seconded by Jensvold, to set a public hearing for Iowa Cage-Free Ovations Farm Site, 9 a.m., April 12th. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed.
We need to go back to number 4.
If we could.
Let's do it.
Okay, in talking with Scott after, and then I called Matt at La Harve and asked him what he was thinking about digging, and he said, I just gave the price that I gave for the last dig. So he wasn't thinking anything specific, just that's what he did the last time. So my opinion is we just go with Larson's bid because it's less, it's just a clean out. We never asked them before what dirt quantities they're taking out, they're just cleaning it. And I vote that we start out with the low riprap number, and when they start the dig, we can be out there and kind of see what they're gonna go with. But everything in Larson's bid was a lower cost. So my opinion would just be to go with Larson's. But it's up to you if you'd like more questions asked or answered.
With the full footage and their recommended, or their estimate of 20 tons.
No, I'm fine.
I am too.
I'll make a motion to accept the bid from Larson Contracting. And that number was 34, was it?
With the 20-ton of riprap, it was 34,333.10.
With the stipulation that there could possibly be more riprap.
Right,
Just as needed or
As
whatever.
needed.
yeah. And
We can't discuss it until you have a second.
I should, you want to say?
I can second that.
I was gonna say, it's kind of,
sorry,
It's just a
Your
point of
business.
order. You can't discuss something when there's a motion on the table without a second.
you're right.
So we have a motion from Derby, seconded by Smith.
Now we can discuss it.
Yes, we
Add
can.
that to your motion?
We have to discuss it.
No. The possible additional riprap.
That's kind of a standard.
and in the outlet repairs, they only had 10 total outlets, but I did quote them on 14, even with that 34.
34,000.
Yep, because I wanted to do the same number. And so I will call Larson's and tell them that.
We have to vote on it. All in favor?
More discussion.
Are you, I think we're,
Yeah.
I think we're, I think we're done discussing. Right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Thanks for doing that, Chris.
Yeah, no worries.
That's a good way to look at it.
So, okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right. Consider for approval auditors transfers.
You don't like my points of order?
I like your points of order because I am clueless on points of order. I've never been I've been on lots of boards, but none of them have ever had.
I was schooled very hard when I was in Sigma Phi Epsilon, so this is what you did everywhere else.
I haven't done any of that parliamentary procedure stuff since OCAG in high school. I kinda remember it.
It was just funny, the dialogue going back and forth was just hilarious.
It's not always that easy to keep order in here, you know.
There's order, you say.
Did you email with the plans out?
I don't know this answer. It was Thursday. Last Thursday? Last, it wouldn't have been me. And Chris.
Chris, yeah. I don't remember seeing it.
Actually, none of them said it. I don't know if I did either.
They're theirs.
Yep, I'll look at them.
Well, doesn't mean that I didn't look at it, I just can't remember. I had this. Trade, you said.
So on payroll, we're still doing just the one signature.
There's one for the county and one for the assessor.
Just want to make sure we didn't change anything there.
There's a few individual payroll things, but.
Mm-hmm.
Julie has left.
All the departments have clothing, allowances? No.
I think the secondary roads has got some.
Secondary roads, communications,
I suppose the sheriff.
Sheriff.
uniform, yeah, they have, but that's separate.
So am I able to take this with me when I go meet with the
I
DNR?
can make a copy of the master matrix part for you.
Okay, I'll need that when I go out there. DNR to look at that, see what it's that personally done. I'll make a motion to approve the, county claims.
I'll second it.
Motion by Derby and seconded by Jensvold to approve the county claims. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Pass.
Just wanted to do some discussion on that motion.
I was just waiting for everyone to say all those in favor, say aye. All those in favor, well, I could say about anything then.
Aye.
You can have the $1,000 if you want this chair back.
No,
Easily.
he's laughing at me.
It'd be,
So you wanna make a motion for the auditor's transfers?
Oh, point of order, Derby.
yes. I'll make a motion to approve the auditor's transfer.
I'll second.
Only one.
Was there,
Yes.
all right. Motion by Derby, seconded by Jensvold to approve auditors transfers. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
No discussion.
I did notice you're
Aye.
removing of the plural.
Okay. Consider for approval payroll claims. Oops.
I'll make a motion to approve the payroll claims.
I'll second it.
Motion by Jensvold, second by Derby to approve the payroll claims. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, passed. We stand adjourned.
So that Julie knows that every time she gets on and gets off, it announces